Today we have a prominent alumni with us, Mr. Harsh Dattani. He is working with Wipro Google and he is going to share very interesting topic with us, how to get using Google Cloud. So welcome Harsh, again at you. Now
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
handing the session to you. All the best.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam, and thank you to Parul University for opportunity to conduct a webinar. It's a good time to connect with current students, current batch as well, and share my couple of experience around industry and cloud technologies that I'm working on. So I'm working with Wipro and with Google as one of our client. So I'm working as a senior project engineer over here, and today I'll be talking more about cloud computing, cloud technologies, and a small demo around Google Cloud and how we can build a system using Google Cloud. I guess there are electronics, robotics, computer science. I see students online viewing this. So for you guys, it would be a good thing to learn as well to see how you can leverage Google Cloud or cloud as a technology during your studies or any of the project that you are working on. And since it's an upcoming trend in market, it's good thing to learn, explore. There are a couple of certifications as well, which if I'm not able to cover today, like you can pass your queries around to madam as well, and I can help you with those queries over email as well at any point of time. So, okay, let's enough of this talk from my side. I'll quickly share a small presentation and then we'll go through a short demo around Google Cloud. So I'm presenting my screen. Is it visible? I'm not sure. Okay, now it is.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, okay. So today agenda for this webinar will be need of cloud computing. What is cloud computing? Cloud services, who are providers, why Google Cloud, what is Google Cloud, and we'll see regions, zones in Google Cloud. We'll see what kind of services do they provide. This last 3-4 topics will be covered along with a short demo. So first thing, this is just an image for a representation on how a data center or networking looks like. So if this kills you, this next couple of minutes, this webinar is for you. Okay. So let's take an example of an traditional e-commerce store. So this just an traditional e-commerce store, and we'll evaluate. We'll see what kind of challenges they face while going from a traditional store to an e-commerce store. So first thing we'll see, for any e-commerce store to go online, one thing would be an inventory management system. So they need to build an inventory management system. Also, they need to work on how they will be delivering their products, what kind of, where their system will be visible on for end user. It can be laptop, mobile phone. So this is an traditional, how a traditional e-commerce store goes online. So with an inventory management system, with an visibility on, with an end user platform on laptop and mobile, they can go online in a couple of minutes. So this are the problem faced while we go online with any of the solution, whether it can be your project or whether it can be your e-commerce website or any kind of website or any kind of project services that we move to cloud or any of the online store online thing. So first thing that we face, one of the challenge that we face is database and its security, obviously, because an e-commerce store would have lot many users. So maintaining a database of those users, maintaining the connectivity, and also along with maintaining security of that database is also one of the concern. Another thing is that's one of the problem is, since right now the store or your application or your project may be small, so that can be in prototype stage. But when in future, if it grows, if more number of users uses this, or more number of clients get onboarded, managing servers, increasing more and more servers is a challenge as well. Also, with increasing more and more servers, cost also gets increased. So nothing comes for free, as you all know. Like, there's one or another cost that we need to pay for using any kind of services. So managing services also comes with a cost. So cost also gets increased gradually or exponentially whenever we increase the servers. And once we increase server, another issue that comes is an scalability issue. So there are so I'm not sure if you have faced such kind of situation right now, but there are problems or situations that arise when your applications is used by lot many developers or lot many users. So once your application gets famous or gets viral, scaling up is an issue. Sometimes you need to add more storage. Let's say if more users are using it, they are uploading photos, videos on your application, then you need to scale up in terms of storage. If they are using in terms of computing power, let's say if you have developed a game, online game kind of thing, at that point storage is not increased, but your computing power, your processing power gets increased. So scalability is also an issue. So over here, as an engineer, as a person who is developing a project, should also consider how they can scale up their project. And also along with it, even scaling it up, adding servers, adding security, also after doing all these things, your application, website, anything that you have developed should be fast and fault tolerant. We have seen many times that whenever traffic comes to a particular website or any kind of application, there are chances that it gets slow, or maybe it goes down as well. So even so, that's also one of the challenge that can be faced right now. So how we can solve, mostly all of these challenges can be solved if we move our project, our solution to cloud computing technology. So how in cloud computing is, it's similar to kind of similar to renting a server out or renting a database storage out. It's just that those server and whatever you are renting out is not at your home or is not at your office premises. It is online somewhere, let's say in Mumbai, in Singapore, in USA. The server is at a particular zone, particular region, and you just only need to work on building the application, writing the code, and deploying it. So maintaining servers, adding new servers, security of those servers, scaling up those servers is not your issue, not something that you should worry about. So we'll talk about one problem of it and how cloud computing can solve it. We'll see one by one. So that this theory, this thing is for you to understand what are the problems faced in real world while we develop a project, and how cloud computing can help us. So first problem we saw was database and security. So cloud computing or cloud providers are certified. They do security audits of their database and of the systems as well on regular basis. They are also compliant with regional laws. Let's say in Europe, there is a privacy law. In India, there is an IT Act. In Australia, there is also a Privacy Act. So this cloud storage providers, cloud computing providers, public providers need to be compliant with those privacy and security acts of those regions or countries as well. So that's one of the worry that goes off from a developer side. Otherwise, if you want to launch your application in another country, first thing that you need to be compliant with their security and privacy act. Another benefit of cloud computing is it's reduced the cost and overhead. We saw that, okay, with increasing number of servers, with increasing number of security, our cost get increased as well. So in cloud, how our cost gets saved is we only pay for whatever computing power or whatever storage that we use. Otherwise, in traditional server or traditional in premises, so there are two things. One is an in-premise server and another is a public cloud provider. So in-premise server is something that you have at your own place or office, and public cloud server is something that you rent out. So if you buy or if you set up an in-premise server, you need to invest on the hardware cost. You need to invest on networking cost, cabling cost, and everything. So when you move to cloud, those costs are shared among all the customers, all the clients. So in a way, your cost is reduced by an X amount. It's drastically reduced. So it saves your cost as well. Plus since cloud computing, public cloud providers has multiple servers as well. They have done virtualization, multiple racks as well. More than one computation can be done at a point of time. So it increases your speed of processing power as well. So it reduces your chance of website going down or application going down when number of users gets increased. So it's like an linear curve over there. So you might be knowing about linear curve and exponential curve over there. So in an on-premise server, your cost gets increased exponentially. So exponentially, you know that curve goes high or increases in an exponential curve. So your cost increases exponentially. Whereas in cloud computing, public cloud providers, your cost increases linearly. It doesn't increase as an exponential at a speed phase. Plus, you get fast computing, fast power as well. And also, one of the advantages, you can maintain your system website on through any remote access. So you can either manage your website or project through your mobile, laptop, desktop, any tablet, anything through which you can manage. Manage is completely different than you see. I'm not saying that you can use your application. So it's two things. So let's take an example of Parul University website. So you can see your website, Parul University website in phone, tablet, mobile, laptop, desktop. So that's an responsive. But I'm talking about managing that website. So there might be a team of engineers, there might be a team of administrator who might be running and maintaining that website for you. So they can manage through any of the system which is accessible or available to them. So that's also one of the benefit of cloud computing. Okay. So now next thing is, let's just simply go through and cloud computing definition. We'll just revise it up. So what cloud computing is, basically cloud computing consists of servers, virtual desktop. They provide platform softwares as well on which you can run your applications. They also provide storage to store your data as well. So storage can be storage for your files, databases, applications as well. And also, so here, if you can see, we talked about pay-as-you-go pricing model. So whatever you use, that only thing that you pay for. Plus there are multiple remote servers as well, connected through fiber optic cables across the globe. So chances of getting your website or application down is really very less. Yes, there's one condition applied over here. It should be properly configured. It should be properly developed. Otherwise, आपने कुछ भी रख दिया cloud पे, or like you'll assume that it will never go down, it will never shut down. This is not the case. It should be properly developed, properly configured as well. So your responsibility of managing hardware is reduced, but writing code, developing project, publishing it is still our responsibility. Okay. So why cloud? We saw that these are the added advantages for using cloud: scalability, latency. So scalability is something that engineering students, you might be knowing about throughput as well. So its scalability is measured in terms of what's an overall throughput that you are getting or that's required to maintain. So cloud computing helps us to maintain a scalability as well. Latency, we all know that, let's say if you ping any server or any kind of connectivity, there is a latency. Latency in general terms, I can tell lag. So gaming people might be knowing, if you have played PUBG, like most of time we say game is lagging or connectivity is lagging around. So latency is the speed that you are getting and how much time it's taking to get you those results. Plus guaranteed performance is also one of their added benefit. Management, accessible management, you can, as I told, you can access it anywhere and anytime. So for engineers, network administrators, it's really easy to manage the services. And self-healing resilience. So cloud network operates 24/7. So there is no downtime is not an option. So this just for a revision sake. I'm repeating it again. Okay. Now this takes me to an important model of cloud. There are many, around 8 cloud service models, but primarily we'll talk about 3. because there are subparts as well, which obviously you can, once you study in detail, you can read about it. But for the scope of this webinar and time limitation, I'll talk about infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Okay. So what I mean as an infrastructure in any of the IT system or any of the system, or even in a civil system, or even in a building, we have an infrastructure. Infrastructure is something on which your system is built. So for a server or for a cloud service kind of thing, infrastructure is your hardware, is your storage, is your compute, is your RAM, on which, using those infrastructure processing power, your system is built. Then comes platform. Platform is something on which you run your project. Okay, so platform can be your operating system, platform can be your database storage engine, platform can be let's say machine learning APIs, or any kind of service on any kind of space where you run your application on. So obviously, once we set up our hard drive, once we set up our RAM, once we have our processing system ready, we need to set up operating system on it. So operating system acts as a platform. And then comes in software as a service. So once you have your, it's like assembling a desktop computer. You have your CPU ready, you have your operating system ready, and on your operating system, you run MS Office. So MS Office becomes as a software. So MS Office is a software as a service. Windows can become a platform as a service, and your hardware provider becomes as an infrastructure as a service. So cloud computing, public cloud providers provide you all these three things. So here it saves your cost. If you only want to use, let's say we are using Google Meet right now. So Google Meet is a software as a service. So let's say Parul Institute is paying, Parul University is paying for this service. So they are only paying to use the software as a service for Google Meet. They don't need to pay for underlying hardware, storage capacity, RAM capacity, or whatever operating system Google Meet is running. We don't need to, we are not even concerned about it. So that's a benefit of using or pay as you go model. Pay for whatever you are using. Okay. So this is little bit in detail about infrastructure as a service. So as I told, infrastructure as a service is basic storage and computing capabilities. As standardized services over a network, it can be like VPN, storage, servers, etc. Then this is an platform as a service. We saw like what is an platform. Platform can be in Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. There's a LAMP platform. Computer science students or someone who has developed a website in past might be knowing what is an LAMP platform. LAMP is an abbreviation of Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So platform as a service offers operating systems, app engine, database engines as well. Okay. And these are the various cloud providers in market right now: Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, Azure, Salesforce, Oracle, Alibaba Cloud. So there are multiple cloud providers as well. Each one has their own benefits, own limitations. But overall, if we see whatever each of those cloud providers, services that each of them provides remains the same. Overall benefits remains the same. Cost-wise, each of them vary, but not much. So whenever you are going with any kind of cloud provider, you can evaluate their services online, evaluate their capabilities online, and then pick one. Today we'll talk about Google Cloud out of all of this. So why Google Cloud? Google Cloud has this. This isn't just a glimpse of tools and services that they are providing, but for the sake of I know you are students, so for your sake, for your easy to understand, these are the couple of things in which I have divided those services on, so that you can understand why to use Google Cloud, or let's say if you are working on any kind of project or want to work where cloud technology or cloud can help you. First of all, it can help you in compute. So what I mean by compute, if you want to do some kind of processing, and if you feel your existing laptop, existing desktop is not capable or not fast enough to do it, cloud can help you. How? Let's say if you are capturing an image, and if you want to do a process on it, it might take time on your physical computer, on your laptop or something, but cloud, it can take less time. So compute is where you can use the processing power of Google Cloud. Storage and database. So let's expand that same image processing application. So if you have an if you are working on an image processing application or a project, you might need to store those images as well. You might need to maintain a database of users log in, log out, when image was uploaded, what kind of image was uploaded, and many things. So cloud can help you with their inbuilt storage. So that can save your time, that can save your config, that can save your resource as well, that can save your cost as well. Then post that is a networking thing. Let's say if you are working on a project where you need to configure an VPN, or where you need, let's say, or another thing is, let's say if you are networking students, some of you might be working on a load balancing project. So cloud technology has multiple networking capabilities as well, where you can learn and explore learn your networking skills as well, and implement your networking skills as well through multiple cloud services. Then comes big data. So data analysis, as you know, data analysis is also one of the upcoming trend or upcoming skill in the market as well, being a data analyst, data engineer. So Google Cloud also helps you with their big data suite of products, where you can analyze large chunk of data. Large chunk of data doesn't mean, I'm not talking about data with 100 rows, 500 rows, 5,000 rows. I'm talking about a table with 5 lakh rows or 50 lakh rows. A table that is in a database table that's in size of 1 TB. I'm not talking about small data that can be processed in your laptop or stored in your laptop. I'm talking about big data database in terms of terabytes of size. So cloud we'll also see an example of big data as well, how cloud can help you process those data, query those data in the time of seconds. Then developer tools. So for developers, for software engineers, there are a suite of developer tools available on cloud, which you can explore, which you can learn. So we'll also see what kind of developer tools are available. Identity and security. So security is also, some of you might be interested in learning more about security, learning more about privacy, learning more about maintaining identity. So cloud also has identity and security in place. So I'll also talk about where you can learn each of these things. So post this webinar, I'll share links with Madhuri madam, and maybe she can mail you all the links as well, all the resources on which you can learn it. Because I'll speak and go. University conducts this webinar for your information, for your learnings. But unless you yourself practice, you yourself learn, you yourself do, everything is of no use if you yourself don't learn and explore. So I'll share links. I tried doing this. Google Cloud provides $300 credit as well for free. So you can learn it out for free as well. There's nothing that you need to spend. You need to spend if you want to build something really big, or if you want to deploy something live. And if those $300 are expired or gets over, then you need to spend from your pocket. Otherwise, learning is free. Plus Internet of Things. So let's come to next topic, is Internet of Things. So Google Cloud also has a suite of products in Internet of Things. So one of their famous product in Internet of Things, most useful service that I have used, and maybe you guys can also use as well, it's called PubSub. So publisher and subscriber, it can be like PubSub. So where one device at a remote location, let's say in a farm, or I'm not able to recall one example, but maybe you can connect it with, let's say you have built an IoT program or IoT gadget that measures water level. So your IoT device stays inside your well, tank, or in a canal or anywhere. From there, it streams the data. It streams the weather, water level to your cloud. And from cloud, you can stream it back to any of the desktop, any of the device that I say. You can either view those data into your mobile phone, into your laptop, into your desktop. So building an IoT, so cloud will not help you build an IoT device, but it can help you build those network between an IoT device and your phone seamlessly. So there are multiple use cases of IoT. You can explore, learn about IoT as well. As I said, again, I'll share those links to learn about IoT. Then again, artificial intelligence, machine learning is something that's trending right now. Everyone is talking about data analysis, machine learning, that. So machine learning is something where instead of humans, machine does those processing for us. Machine brings up with results, analysis, suggestions. So one of thing we all know about YouTube suggestions, we all know about Netflix suggestions, we all know how Amazon suggestions, advertisement. So those are basic machine learning applications. But there are far ahead and complex machine learning use cases and applications as well. Google Cloud provides multiple machine learning resources, machine learning capabilities, which you can learn and explore. Then comes management tools. So obviously there are two types of, in any kind of organization, there are two types of need. One who are administrators and another who actually build those systems. So let's say if someone tells that, okay, I'm not good in programming, what to do? You can be an administrator as well. So there are management tools as well where you can manage, monitor the health of your system. So building and deploying a system is also one of the phase, but maintaining those system, keeping it live, make sure it's working, is also part of management or administrator job as well. So management tools are there, multiple suites of tools are there where you can manage your application, manage your resources, and obviously data transfer. So there might be a case where you might need to move from one cloud provider, from Google or Amazon or your own premises to Google Cloud or anyway, because there is no lock-in. So whenever you move to a public cloud, there is no lock-in feature. Let's say if you are moving to cloud, there is no one is locking you to stay over there. You can move from one cloud provider to another cloud provider. You at any point of time you can stop using it, or any point of time you can start using it. Obviously, the expense that comes from moving from one cloud provider is that what you or me need to bear, that those cloud providers will not bear. Plus expense, there are two types of expense. Whenever I say expense for an industry, for an organization, expense is not always monetary thing. Expense can be in terms of time as well and money as well. How many resources, how many employees, how many engineers are working on it, plus what kind of expense, additional expense that or additional cost that is coming is also termed as an expense in terms of spend on resources. Okay, so I think I have talked enough of all this blah blah. We want to see something real. This is what might you all be thinking about. So I'll take you to Google Cloud. Let me open it. Is my screen visible? Can someone confirm?
Yes, it is visible, Vish.
Okay, sure. So this is an website, cloud.google.com. It's an landing page of Google Cloud. So you can, I have already logged in. So that's why it's showing me console, but you can sign up over there. You can sign in over there and get $300 free credits. So we'll move to console side and we'll see how in Cloud Console looks like. So there's so much imagination you might be having that, okay, cloud is something that might be looking very strange, or black screen, terminal, and those things. So there's nothing like in cloud, our Cloud Console. Obviously for complex systems, they might be useful, but right now if you see, that's a pretty straightforward, simple user interface and simple look. So this is a dashboard where you can monitor all your, so this I'm using in blank account for demo, because I can't give demo of an application that's running live because of privacy reason. But this is something that's a blank dashboard looks like. So once we build, once we build something, it will start popping up over here. Data will start popping up over here. Okay. So this on the left hand side, if we see, these are the services that Google Cloud provide. So I told you there are multiple services cloud provides us, and then we talked about compute. So there are this many compute services, compute products that provide. Then we talked about storage as well. Then we talked about database. We talked about networking. So VPN, VPC networking, then network security you can do. Network intelligence is also one of the services. Network topology, you might have studied about various network topologies as well. So this is a place where you can implement your learnings, or you can learn something new as well. Plus, as I talked about managing and administrating, so this is an area where monitoring, debugging, error reporting, logging, tracing is things are done. Then I talked about developer tools as well. So these are the developer tools. We talked about big data and IoT. So this is an area where we can see many products on big data and IoT. So don't get confused. Don't feel that, okay, this is something very strange, very difficult. It's not at all. At any point of time, no one in the world, nobody, I challenge, nobody is using all of these services. What they are using, let's say there's an data proc and there's an PubSub. So you need to learn, if you want to use IoT or in Google Cloud, just search how to implement IoT project on Google Cloud. You'll get two, three services out of it. Read about it, evaluate it, and then see, okay, whether shall I use Dataproc or I shall use PubSub. How to use is what you need to follow those tutorials. Then in that case, if IoT is your one of your application is one of you that you want to work on, you might not need to worry about AI. You might not need to worry about big data or these tools or this networking. So that's a benefit of cloud. You only learn the area that you want to use. Okay, BigQuery, we'll see BigQuery demo as well, how it process terabytes of data in just seconds. Then we also talked about artificial intelligence, AI platform, data labeling, natural language processing. So what you see in terms of Google Translate or something that converts your text to speech or something that comes in natural language processing, data labeling, if you want to do any kind of image processing or label your data, label data set kind of thing. Not only image, but any kind of data you want to label it out for any kind of processing, you can use data processing over here. If you want to do kind of, let's say if you want to have a CCTV footage or if you have a video footage and you want to do some kind of processing or machine learning around on it, you can use video intelligence and vision API. So that's useful. You might not need to do heavy work on your own system or install multiple tools, technologies on your computer as well. Then there are game servers, game services as well, and Google Maps is also part of Google Cloud. So if you want to, in any of your project, if you want to use Google Maps as a service or want to consume any kind of location-based, lat-long-based kind of data, Google Maps is also part of Google Cloud that you can use. Okay, so first thing we'll see, we'll create one Linux instance, we'll set up a Linux computer in it, and we'll see how fast it's to set up a Linux computer and how fast it's to start using it online. So don't worry about where I navigate, how I navigate. You just see how cloud can help you do things fast. Because there in compute, there are multiple options. So this may look confusing in beginning, but once I share those resources, once you do those practicals, it's easy to learn. So in Compute Engine, I'll go to VM instances. Just a second. Okay. So VM instances, it's saying that I don't have any of the existing VM instance right now. So I'll create one VM instance. So VM is a virtual machine. So if you are familiarized with virtualization concept, VMware, VirtualBox, hypervisor. So VM instance, virtual machine installs another operating system inside your existing computer using the same hardware, so that you can get benefit of existing hardware systems without spending cost on extra resources or without buying another system as well. If you want to use Linux, you can through VM or virtualization, you can use Linux inside your Windows machine. So similarly, all the cloud providers use virtualization as a technology to help us install or set up any kind of operating system on their server. So we'll create one VM instance over here. Okay, so I'll name it Taste webinar. Okay, it says name must be in lowercase, my bad. Taste webinar. Then if we want to add any kind of labels is for us to use, as you all have enrollment number to identify yourself. Let's say in future, if we have tens or hundreds of instances or virtual machines running, through label we can identify those, because taste.webinar is something that we might not remember each time. Okay. Then region. Region is where we select where we want to deploy our server or cloud, our instance. So I talked about that our server might be in Singapore or USA or India. So these are the various regions on which we can deploy our cloud. So for now, for simplicity, we'll select US East. We can select any, but for our demo purpose, simplicity, we are selecting one. Okay. So this is something that machine configuration, how much computing power or how many CPU or RAM that we want to allocate to our virtual machine or our Linux computer. So there are multiple options. Let's say this is one of the benefit of cloud. In future, it's difficult for us to invest in a system that has 16 core and 128 gigabyte of RAM. But we can spend on cloud for one, we can use it for 1 day or 2 day for our project need and then just delete it. So that's just something that's benefit for us. So for our demo purpose, we'll create and we'll set up an instance virtual machine with 1 GB of RAM and two virtual CPUs. Okay, so this is where we select the operating system. So what kind of operating system you want to set up on it. So CentOS, Debian, Red Hat, Ubuntu, Windows Server. So there are multiple options. So for now, we'll select Ubuntu. Once we select Ubuntu, we see versions, we can select version as well. So let's select 16.04 for simplicity. This is the hard disk storage. So previously 1 GB was the RAM. This is the storage size. So we'll enter 20 GB over here. And there are three options over here. If we want to use SSD or if we want to use standard disk as well. For now, we'll select SSD. We have selected. For firewall purpose, we'll allow HTTP and HTTPS traffic. Otherwise, it will not allow any kind of network traffic into our virtual machine. So we all know about firewall as well. If not, you'll learn in your lectures in future, in your studies in future. So somewhere one thing also I wanted to talk while I'm on this screen. So sometimes we always think that whatever we study might not be useful in future as well, might not be never used. It's not the case. Whatever you study, every system over here is all built on whatever you have studied or you will study. So nothing is built without a theory part involved. So be good at your theory levels as well, and along with it, try to learn cloud or whatever technology, whatever thing that you are. I'll not restrict you to a cloud because it depends on your personal interest as well. But try to learn those things because this is an upcoming trend in future as well. That will help you be job ready, be market ready in future. Okay. So once we have selected all these things, here you can see the estimate. So estimate is around $10, 9.5. So we'll round it to $10. So through 750 or 800 rupees, if we convert to INR, let's take an higher side of 750 rupees or 800 rupees. 800 rupees per month, you can get an Linux virtual machine with 1 GB of RAM, with one virtual power, two CPUs, and 20 GB SSD. And benefit of this is if you use for an entire month, then only you pay $10. But if you use for 1 hour, 2 hour, 2 days, 3 days, then you are billed hourly. So this is a benefit because let's say if you are working on any of a final year project and you might need to use it for a demo purpose or on the day when you are Viva or on the day while you are testing and building your project, you can use this thing. It's an cost effective and maybe $300 credits can help you cover this cost as well. Okay, I'll just click on create. So our instance is getting created. I can see on my left hand side over here. See create on the notification bar. I can see my VM instance is getting created. Now it's done. It's created. You can see. Just see the processing speed. Within maybe 10-15 seconds, it got created. And also it got allotted an internal IP as well and external IP as well. External IP is through which I would be able to access it. So don't worry if you, let's say in future, if you want to give a static IP to it, you can give it as well. And internal IP is for an internal purpose. If you are creating an VPN among or network among your multiple instances, you can access it through an internal IP. So this is what we have already created. This is our VM instance. Details we can see that we have already done. The name, image, size, SSD we have selected. Encryption, so Google is doing this, all the devices, all the instance operating system is end-to-end encrypted. and managed by Google. So managed doesn't mean they can access your data, but encryption is something that's really very important so that your security or your privacy of this system is not compromised. Okay. So this is how we can create it, and through SSH. SSH, if you have not used, you can explore through that link that I give over here. So SSH is something through which you can access your system. It works on port 21 SSH connection. So through SSH, you can access the command line of your Linux system. So I'll click on SSH. My SSH connection is getting established. So it will take this process will take some time because it is dependent on your network speed. So I'll leave it as it is. We'll explore other BigQuery and other products. Then I'll come back to SSH. Okay. In big data, we talked about products and technologies through which you can access or process your data. So BigQuery is one of that product inside Google Cloud. Internet is slow, so okay, now it's there. Over here, okay, this is also set up. So this is my Linux terminal. You can see I am accessing a server, an instance that I've created on Google Cloud through my browser. So over here, I'm running a simple ls command. So ls command is just for your demo to see. It's list all my folders over here. I can access it. I can install anything. I can install whatever I want on this Linux instance. So an SSH helps you access the terminal of your Linux instance. So I'll exit over here. It's just for a demo purpose. So exit. It's closed now. Okay. So this is right now we are into an BigQuery user interface. Okay, we are right on time. Just a couple of more minutes. So this is right now we are into an BigQuery interface. So over here, Google provides multiple public data as well. Let's say if you want to learn SQL queries, or if you want to learn how to query big data or how to query large set of data, there are public data sets as well. So public data sets can be, let's say, name of movies or name of states, traffic data, or anything. Those can be public data set. So public data set, let's say education. We'll explore education. Let's take something else. There are multiple public data. Yes. Okay. USA names. So this is a public data set on names in USA. So see, public data set that was created by Social Security Administration, and that contains all the names from Social Security card application. So this is a public data set of all the names. It doesn't contain any kind of private information, but just the name, person name, like Harsh, Dattani, just those kind of thing. We'll see how we can query it. So we are loading that public data set and we'll query it. Okay, I'm selecting 2013, 1910 to 2013 table. You can imagine the size of this data. Data is from 1910 till 2013. What it contains: name, gender, year, name, and number. Number of occurrences of that name. Let's say if Harsh is repeated 1,000 times in all the USA names, it contains number as 1,000. So you can imagine how large is this data set. And this is in preview over here. So you can query this. So this is where you can write your query. So obviously I'm not here to teach you how to write queries, but this is a public data set. This is where you can preview your data set. This is where you can see the details of your data set. This is the schema of your data set. This is another public data set, is population by country. So you can preview it. This is data where population by country given in terms of year as well. So this is small data. A table size is around 125 KB. But there are data, I'm not able to recall the name, just a second if I get it. I'll show you, there's a table with size of 1 TB as well. Just a second. Okay, interesting thing, I just recalled it to tell you right now that Google has also added COVID public data set as well inside BigQuery. So let's say if you are working on, or if you plan to work on any kind of project that can help anybody with COVID kind of data, there's a public data set as well, which you can learn and explore. Let me show you big data. Sorry. So right now I'm not able to find that particular data set. I've used it, but and never mind. We can see there's a table size of 250 MB. So these are the each table of 250 MB as well. So even this kind of table and larger table than this, you can query very easily through BigQuery. Yes. Okay, and this is, see, now once we have created those instance, now this is where we can monitor the health of our instance or any of the project. We can see our computation power were used as 58% while we were installing it. While it was getting set up, computation power went up to 122. Those were phases where it was getting installed, operating system was getting installed and ready. After it's done, computation power or computation usage is now 1.1%, nearly 1% as well. So this is where you can monitor your things. This is where you can see the activity. Yes. So this just wanted to show you a short demo about Google Cloud, how you can use it, why you can use it. Now we'll share those learning resources. So post that. You can explore more about it, and if you have any kind of queries after using it, or any kind of challenges that you face or any help with it, you can anyways send an email to Madam as well, and then I can help you with it. Yes. So that was all from my side in terms of presentation and a short demo. Are there any? I have next maybe 3-4 minutes. At 11 I have another call as well. Maybe 1 or 2 questions if there are any, I can help.
Okay, Harsh, if I get any query, I will forward it to you, right?
Sure. Yes, anytime. Yes.
You can continue with your call. Okay. So
Sure.
It was very nice presentation and nice demo.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for spending valuable time with us.
Yes. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.